Cayman tradition.
Let Cora keep my ground so clean.
The heart and soul of the Cayman people. Thank you for keeping the culture alive.
There's the news every day. From East End to Georgetown, down into West Bay.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile. Saving lives today.
Oh, I think they're doing a great job. A lot of them are.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. How are you?
Not too bad, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today with Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
But I do have some questions.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining us. It is indeed a terrific Tuesday as we invite you to be a part of today's Talk Today. 949-8037, or you can hit us up on the toll-free line at 1-800-534-8255. We're going to start off a discussion with our friends at UCCI, reminding us of the importance of education and its access. 1 p.m., Mr. Billy Adam will share with us his knowledge, expertise, and insight relative to pensions. Quick reminder, the Daily Press Briefing, we've been told, is going to now be at 3 p.m. today. So today at 3 p.m., not 2, but we'll remind you about that as we go about. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for joining us. We invite you to be part of a discussion. You know, our good friend Raymond Singh in the sales department has arranged a discussion for us to talk about UCCI. And Miss Susan, where are we today? How are you? Can I get a big hello from Miss Susan publicly? That makes the day, since I can't see her. We're remote. Hello, Miss Susan. You know I'm going to put you on the spot, right? Come on, how long has it been? I want to get a glimpse of you now and again. I have to imagine that my window looks out into you. So it's a pleasure. I'll tell you why I want to say that publicly, because many people, with great respect, don't appreciate those who are supposed to work in remotely, and whatever term you want to ascribe to it. There's a lot. I had a conversation with a lady earlier who said, listen, you know, at her normal day, she may get 10 widgets made. But now, because there's nobody looking over her shoulder, she feels like she needs to make sure that she gets at least 10, and she's finding that she's now, come midday, she gets to 10, and now she can do more. And what that has led me to believe is that we can be a lot more productive if we're allowed to work on our own, as opposed to being constantly sort of penned in. But there you are, always working so hard no matter what. And to you and our entire team, and publicly thank you for everything you do. All right?
Thank you, Dwayne. Thanks very much.
You're most welcome. It's good to see you, and I trust that you and everybody else be safe. All right? Now, what do we have today? What do we do? Do we order chocolate cake or a little bit of custard top cornbread? Can we get a little turtle? Can't go fishing, but what can we do?
No turtle. I've never ate turtle in my life.
No?
That's hard to believe, right?
Well, you would be surprised. You know, we live in this country, right? And some of us have never, on Grand Cayman, never gone outside of our districts. Or if you're on Grand Cayman, never visited the sister islands. True. So like you know, we're learning today that some of us, you know, we go back generation after generation after generation and never enjoy the turtle, even though it's been served on a menu or Sunday deal, right?
Not for
So,
me.
what,
Not for
not for you.
no.
What else have you not had? Anything in particular that you would say, boy, and I've never tried that? No. Hmm. We'll have to figure it out, right?
Mm.
Is there?
Lobster probably.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you miss it? Do you have a desire to try it, or you just haven't tried it and don't have the desire to taste it?
Maybe the lobster, but not the turtle.
Any particular reason why?
I don't know. I just didn't. I haven't tried it, so I can't say it's good or bad, right?
Yeah, man, yeah, man. Well, but I should ask. I apologize. I should ask early. I know we were expecting Dr. McAfee and Miss Anglin. They haven't called in as yet, right?
Right, we have them on the line
We have
waiting.
them on the line.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what you said to me earlier. Okay, I misunderstood that. I'm just thinking about some food right now. Okay, I
Yeah.
mean,
Now
you
you're gonna
know,
make me hungry now. You're gonna make me all
yeah.
hungry now.
I think what it is, I can call to get my car, a mobile car wash, but I can't get in and go fishing. Ah,
Mm.
boy, so the things that are important to Caymanians, but not to, anyway, that'll be a discussion I'll have another time, right? But you enjoy and be safe, and thank you for allowing us to hopefully not give you any more trouble than necessary. But thanks for the great job you're doing.
Okay, you're welcome.
And we'll chat soon.
Sure.
All right. All right. Dr. Stacy, how are you,
Yes,
ma'am?
I'm very well. How are you, Dwayne?
I am blessed, man. And I think you probably like Miss Anglin, want a little taste of a little turtle dinner as well, huh?
Exactly. Right? We're trying all kinds of recipes as we're cooking more at home.
Just about to jump into that turtle conversation to say, funnily enough, I hadn't tried turtle, I think, until probably about 3 or 4 years ago. So, in a similar boat.
Yeah. And I'm glad, sometimes I listen to the leanings of the spirit. Sometimes, I just pick up on the cues, right? And what's interesting, as Dr. Stacy, for those who are just joining us, that's the present CEO at UCCI, Dr. Stacy McAfee, and the wonderful Miss Alison Anglin, who's going to tell us all about the registration and the like, and all the capacity you serve in. But would you indulge me for a second? Because I think this thing that we're going through now, I'm not going to call it a pandemic, right? For obvious reasons, but it's a lot of horrible things that have happened and could happen. But we need to find the silver lining in all this, right? And as Dr. Stacey was sharing, the opportunity now to cook a little bit more, to perhaps eat healthier, to share more with the families if we're fortunate enough to be in our homes with our families and maybe share recipes and the like. And if it's the turtle that you never had and can't cook, and whether you, like me, miss it with the sea pie and the like, but there's so much that we could do. And what an opportune time to continue our learning and personal growth and development for maybe that career change that we always wanted to explore, maybe that another rung on the ladder that we wanted to sort of climb. Right, Dr. Stacy? Perfect time, huh?
It is a perfect time, and to engage in real conversations as we break bread together. And I think about that more and more families are studying together. Parents are teaching their children, and it's a great opportunity as parents to also commit to lifelong education. So it is a wonderful time, and I think we will emerge with some really new important life strategies and habits that we lost track of over the years.
Now, with that, and I promise, Miss Allison, we talk, as Dr. Stacy just shared, now is the opportune time for parents as they're teaching their children, but for some of us, and I forgive you, Miss Allison, the 10 years that you still have under your belt, there were some of us that was a norm. Our parents, even though they didn't have, respectfully, the education opportunities that they were providing for their children way back when. So when the child got to a certain grade in school, the parents would say, well, that goes beyond my math skills and my, other sort of formal education. But they were teaching, they were instructive in the child learning, making sure the child had access to resources, to that other family member or community member who may knew a little bit more. I think of, the late Mr. Vernon Jackson, for instance, being a great, resource, not only as an educator, but just to reach out across the divide and helping other people. But even before his time, there were others as well, from Mr. Hunter on to Mrs. To Miss Redley and the like. So that time, Miss Allison, maybe new again for us to be teaching in home and to accessing the education opportunities, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I think right now is an opportune time. We are at home, and of course, I think you were discussing it earlier with remote work. A lot of parents are working from home right now. Those who are still, able to be employed and all that good stuff. But it's really the time now with online classes to pick up something that you may have always wanted to do but never had the time or even the funds to do so. And you can learn along with your child, whether that child is 15 or 22, as they are also learning. And I think I kind of I relate to that sort of family situation where you might have a uncle or another relative that you would call on to help you with homework as you got to a certain level, and you may not have had immediate access to that within your house. So I think a lot of Caymanians experience a similar situation, and a lot of people regionally as well have that type of scenario that they grow up in. And with education right now, so many institutions are online, and the beautiful thing about UCCI, it's right within our country. You've got ease of access to people who are locally here, who understand the cultural context, not just of the Cayman Islands, but of the region as well, that will be able to extend beyond our borders. So it's the perfect time for an adult learner to reach out to someone on our admissions team and have a discussion about their goals and how UCCI can help them achieve that, whether that's, a continuing education class, learning how to navigate Zoom, or, I want to start an undergraduate degree, or I have already achieved an undergraduate degree, and now it's time for me to shape my tomorrow and gain a master's degree at UCCI.
Yeah, man. And I like that encouragement. And I think Dr. Stacey too, even if it's just for a personal growth and edification, there are those of us, for instance, the culinary classes that may be available, maybe it's literature. You've always heard about, Charles Dickens. Maybe you were forced to read it as a youngster, as your, lit class, but you never really got to explore it. Maybe it's a period in history. And just to have that knowledge as a retiree, as someone who just has, because of change in lifestyle, has found some time on her hands, to be able to have those sort of formal instruction in and of itself bodes well for the health of the community.
It very much bodes well for the health of our community. Finding some time to invest in yourself and to expand your knowledge and your interests is very important. And we've always found historically that in summer, a lot of parents will like to pick up a course or start a program because the workload in supporting their children's homework is lessened. And we find that summer is a great way to begin because it's a shorter semester as well. So you can dip your toe in the water, get started, and then you'll have a bit of a break before fall semester starts. So you have an opportunity to think about planning forward. We know, Dwayne, that during this time, many people are also pausing and saying, what's next in the next job for me, or where am I going next in my career, in ways that maybe we haven't thought about for a while. And one thing that I would definitely encourage people to do is, whether you're ready to get started or not, is to talk with someone in our admissions department just to connect the dots with you about what you're thinking about doing, what are the typical educational pathways or the training that we offer that might support you in that journey. So it's an important conversation to have.
Okay. Well, respectfully, when we come back from the break, could we ask of you more to expound? You talk about summer enrollment. For those of us, as Ms. Alson shared, who may be looking at graduate studies as well, without question, online is probably a necessity now, but for some it's just what would have to be, even if it was normal, way back when, and get into some more of this, perhaps costing, because for parents, I would imagine, as much as they are willing to make a sacrifice, they're not going to, more than likely, put themselves before their children's education. But sometimes if they understand what it costs, well, this is only $1, this is $1,000, they might be willing to justify it. So could we talk about some of those things when we come back from the break?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. Well, we're going to pause and take a break. When we come back, continue having a chat about UCCI and looking at our education. 1 o'clock, the headline news, and then thereafter, Mr. Billy Adam will share with us about pensions, and that's topical now with the withdrawals. The press briefing is scheduled for 3 p.m. today. So guess what? You may look at it favorably. You get a little bit more time with me. Hey, stay tuned for Talk Today.
Social distancing is crucial for our community to get back to normal, and never before has communication been so crucial. Keeping in touch with family, friends, and up to date requires you to stay in touch. Green Turtle offers the solution for both. Download the Green Turtle app now. Top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination in Cayman. Phones delivered to your home, and with the new rewards program, you can even redeem points towards a new phone and other products. Download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Hashtag Stay Home Cayman. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
It's time to stay steady in the summer and be ready for the fall. Summer 2020 classes begin on May 11th, and there has never been a more opportune time for you to invest in your future with online classes at UCCI. Do your part to keep our island safe and stay home Cayman while furthering your educational goals. Continue or start your success story today by visiting ucci.edu.ky/myucci to find out more about the enrollment process. Call 623-8224 or email info@ucci.edu.ky to learn more.
Don't let the actions of the few continue to impact the majority. If you know of someone who is taking unnecessary risks with social distancing and curfews, talk to them. Remind your siblings, children, parents, and friends of the importance of social distancing. We will all get through these challenging times, but only if we can all work together. Hashtag Stay Home Cayman.
Hello, Cayman. I'm Quincy Brown. Anybody else getting mixed up with all these new coronavirus terms? Me too. But guess what? I've watched the press conferences and I've read the press releases and I've seen all the social media posts. Look here, I can help you out. Stay at home. Stay home. No gadabouten. Stay your backside home. Una got it now? If Una want to stay up to the time with what's going on, there's only one place for the real information, the Cayman Islands government. Visit gov.ky/coronavirus. Now remember, keep washing your hands, keep following the rules, and keep taking care of each other. Saving lives is Cayman kind.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us, and it's really a pleasure to welcome Dr. Stacey McAfee and Ms. Alison Anglin as we focus on UCCI and remind all of our citizens and residents of the ease with which they can access UCCI and its own programming and the opportunities that are afforded for not just our own edification, but as we pursue further education, what it may mean to our career development. So thank you both for sharing with us. And as we look at this, hopefully it'll renew in us through our own example and initiative that education is not just the equalizer, but the opportunities that it provides are lifelong. So thanks again. As you went to the break, we're talking about it. So perhaps Dr. Stacey, you first, and then Ms. Allison. If you want to enroll, if summer is coming up, maybe start with that. What are the terms? How do we enroll? Ms. Allison, Dr. Stacey?
Sorry.
Hi.
We are starting our summer semester May 11th. So if you are interested in submitting an application for admission, the deadline for new students is May 11th. And if you are a current student, you should be registered or registering as soon as possible. The deadline for adding and registering for classes is May 15th. So classes are filling up, and we want to make sure that you register and you're also able to get your books. We have a slightly different process, obviously, as you can imagine, with the physical campus being closed. We have an opportunity, though, to serve students, and we want them to go to our website and submit an order for the books that they need for this summer, and we will fill those orders. And within 48 hours of receipt, call them to schedule a time during their curfew-approved days to come and pick up their books.
Yeah, I guess this is the new norm, Miss Allison. Maybe you can send them a drone. I'm not sure. So hey, maybe it's innovative. You have a wonderful a science component to the school as well. That'll be the next thing. Drone deliveries. Maybe we can. No, let me not say that.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. All right. So summer.
STEM is the future. A lot of people would say. So yeah.
Yeah, man. We can do some curbside service. We got a couple of political glass fronts that we can connect up to the drones and shift them around as well. There's things that can happen. Just a little thought. Carrying a load of the drone weight. Anyway, no, but this is where I think we have to look at what education is. And as I was trying to jest, that's what a classroom is like, whether it's the traditional classroom that we've known or whether it's the online learning modalities that we are adopting. The fact that you can now engage with students in your own jurisdiction or globally, and you can share with them. I think, given how people are teaching and learning now, for them, this is the norm that they happily embrace, because the access and the opportunity for expanded learning is so much more convenient, I believe. For Ms. Allison, for the summer, as Dr. Stacey was sharing, enrollment, today's Tuesday, so next Monday is the 11th, I believe.
Yes, it's right around the corner.
Okay. And then that session would run until when? Because I'm not sure about you, but the month of April was a long year for me. So
It was unusually long, wasn't it?
yeah, I it's the longest April I've ever had, man. I'm sure it was a year. But
it felt like a January. It really did. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Certainly wasn't February. That's for sure.
No. But the summer session will start on May 11th, and the last day of classes is June the 26th, and then we would have final exams occurring between the 30th of June and the 2nd of July. So as Dr. Stacey said, it is a much shorter semester, and a good time for those who are still undecided, or they're on they're on the start of their journey, to dip their toes in the water and get a feel of what it's like to take classes at UCCI, and certainly in an online capacity, and not our traditional face-to-face experience, but our faculty have gone above and beyond towards the end of the spring semester, when we had to transition to make that connection with the students, and they're still doing so, and that's why our classes are being taught what's known as synchronously, so that you can see the teacher at that time and continue to build that connection with them, even while we operate remotely. So it's a good, I think, a nice mix of what people would normally be used to with online is kind of working on their own and just following dates and deadlines and those types of things. But I feel like we've got the best of both worlds, being able to connect with your teachers during specific times, and then having also that truly online component where you are also working on your own outside of those designated periods.
As I listen to you, I'm recognizing that probably gives, as you share, that happy balance where you are able to interact, with the teachers. If I can go back to the days of, secondary and post-secondary schooling, because they're there, they can assist you, but then you can also have the flexibility to go back. One quick question that just came in. It's interesting. People know that you were working, they know your personal number, and they send you a message. But I'm happy to ask this. This is, say, I'm a former student thinking about re-enrolling. I'll just quickly paraphrase it. But the question that I want to pose was, will these lectures then be recorded, uploaded, and then I can go back to revisit later, just in case I was, let me see if I read this correctly, had challenges taking notes. So I guess quickly paraphrase it. Would those lessons be somehow uploaded later on for students to go back and have a revisit?
It's normally treated, we don't traditionally record the lessons because we do want to encourage students to engage in the lesson as it's being taught. But I think it does also come down to an individual preference. But lecturers, faculty will have supporting documentation and resources available for the student. But it's encouraged that they participate in those synchronous sessions so that they're really able to interact not just with the lecturer, but also with their peers in the classroom as well.
Okay. I was going to then ask then, just thinking of how today's technology, so in the classroom, the traditional classroom setting, there's the lecturer, up with the blackboard, but maybe nowadays it's a different board, and they're talking, and there's notes, and there's exchange from students. In this way, would there still be that sort of opportunity as well, just electronically? You'll be able to ask and participate and post comments as if you were physical in the class?
Absolutely. So we are using Microsoft Teams, which will allow students, they can have their video on or off. There's a chat component, there's a multitude of ways to interact with each other and also with the faculty member as the lesson goes on. So you do feel, kind of like you're in that classroom setting, and you can still interact, and you don't have to wait until some time after hours for the faculty member to answer your question. You can ask that during the actual session and get a real time answer. So that's what I say. I feel like we have a beautiful mix of some truly online components, but also the face-to-face interaction by using Microsoft Teams.
Now, with that, if I may then ask two questions, sort of like the scheduling of the class, would there be sort of, if your class was 8 a.m. or 8 p.m., it still be then when that class is scheduled, so the scheduling. And then secondly, to what extent, maybe you can answer this one first for us, to what extent would a person who is unfamiliar, in this case with a Microsoft team, or any of the sort of technology you're going to leverage for us as students to log in and to get the teaching modules then and there, do we need to sort of know how to navigate this technology, or it's relatively easy to adopt for us to understand? I'm thinking of some of us who may not be as adept at using these new technologies.
Yeah. So, yes, I'll let Dr. Stacy.
I was going to say, I might jump in and I actually had a virtual meeting a week or so ago with students to see how they were transitioning to the virtual classroom, and they expressed, quite frankly, how simple the transition had been for them. Their instructors will set up the session and send out a link that you literally just click on, and it brings you into the virtual classroom where you'll see your classmate and your faculty member's face, and you begin the discussion. The faculty are doing a wonderful job in staying connected with our students, and they're also interestingly enough, we do have a learning management system called Blackboard, and faculty are also then loading materials in many cases into Blackboard as well. So as a student, you not only have the interaction live, but you can access those resources at your disposal as you go forward. We think it's really important to keep our students and faculty connected during this time, and we're really pleased to know that we didn't skip a beat and that our students were able to continue with their studies. And we have a full contingent of courses that we're offering this summer, from accounting to chemistry to computer classes to philosophy, child development and learning, writing, environmental sciences, you name it. There are courses associated with degree programs as well as continuing professional education courses, whether you're brushing up on your English or you're polishing some technical skills. We're excited to open up a number of courses this summer for our community.
Excellent. I think this is where we're seeing now, an opportunity for us to even more than ever to utilize, the forms that are available and how education is. I believe, if I'm not being overly sort of dismissive of Ms. Susan, we probably have one final break, and when we come back, then perhaps you could share with us more about some of the financial aspects as well as elaborate further on some of the other courses. All right. We'll pause, and when we come back, we'll conclude our discussion. Please stay tuned.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Hey, what's up, my people? Jeremy Anderson here. Check this out. Something very special is about to happen for Cayman Islands. The Ebenezer SGA Church is partnering with the Salt Light City Ministries, and they're partnering with the Cayman Academy PTA to bring you all nightly motivational messages. These messages are specifically and we're targeting youth and young adults, millennials. Listen to me, y'all. Myself, Jillian Monet, we got a special word that's going to shift your life and take you to the next level in the midst of this crisis. So we need you to lock in with us and spread the word. May 3rd through 8th at 7:15 Central Standard Time. Lock in with us from your smartphone or from your computer at your home. And then May 9th at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is going to be special, and we got a special word for you that's going to show you how to take your life to the next level. So spread the word and join us May 3rd through 9th right here online, and we're going to go to the next level with you. Let's get it.
Hello, Cayman. I'm Quincy Brown. Anybody else getting mixed up with all these new coronavirus terms? Me too. But guess what? I've watched the press conferences and I've read the press releases and I've seen all the social media posts. Look here, I can help you out. Social distancing. Well, that means you're to keep a distance of 3 to 6 feet away from the person next to you. Or in layman's term, if you can see the color of the eye next to you, you're too close. Honor got it now? If Honor want to stay up to the time with what's going on, there's only one place for the real information, the Cayman Islands government. Visit gov.ky/coronavirus. Now remember, keep washing your hands, keep following the rules, and keep taking care of each other. Saving lives is Caymankind.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's get a chance to chat with you, good friends on UCCI, and encourage us in a pursuit for education, Dr. Stacey McAfee and Miss Alison Anglin. You guys are always great and gracious, so thank you again. And now, some enrollment. Next Monday, classes will resume, and all of our people will be, inspired and encouraged. And next thing you know, come September, we'll have a whole new approach to education, right? If I may ask, then, as you were sharing, maybe a quick overview of some of the classes and then some of the course.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Okay, so as Dr. Stacey said, we will continue to have a full suite of classes on offer for the summer session. Associate and bachelor degree classes are being offered in both Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac. Because of the online nature of classes right now for us, we've been able to expand a number of the offerings for Cayman Brac students. So we're really excited about that, and we're really hoping that people will be able to take advantage of those classes. Even just as you were speaking earlier, I was thinking about some classes that people may want to take, and they're not necessarily interested in pursuing a degree, but it could be like Caymanian society or Survey of the Caribbean history, just things that persons might want to learn to keep their brains, their minds active. We have those classes, and you can pursue them as what's known as a non-degree seeking student. So if you're not interested in a degree right now, but you are interested in some classes, you can do that. And for Caymanian students, associate degree classes start at $165 for 3 credit classes. So I mean, that's pretty amazing, for a full semester's cost to have that class available to you for $165. Bachelor degree classes for Caymanians are $600. Makes sense as we continue to level up in the studies for what we would call sort of international students, which are people on work permits, student visas, those types of things. The associate degree cost would start at $405. The bachelor classes at $900. Some of the continuing education classes, so like Dr. Stacey would say, you might want to brush up on your English, that's $185, or you might be interested in conversational Spanish. So on the flip side, you've already got the English down pat, and Spanish, you've always wanted to learn a foreign language. We have conversational Spanish available at $185. Event planning, real estate, introduction to Zoom, effective online meetings. We know that, we're in tons of online meetings right now, and we're offering workshops on effective online meetings, coping strategies for crisis, introduction to digital marketing. There's a host of continuing education programs available. We've also got our certificate classes for those students who are enrolled in our year-long certificate program. Their classes are continuing as normal as well this semester, in addition to our TVET classes for individuals who have been enrolled in our plumbing and AC and electrical classes. Those are all continuing. And an interesting point to note for those TVET classes is if you are an advanced, if you would be considered an advanced student, if you've got years of experience in those areas, you can also be admitted into those classes, even though you haven't done, the fall and the spring semester. You would go through like a really quick assessment by the person teaching the class to determine if you can join, and then you would be able to continue the first part of the program in the fall and in the spring when those are offered. So I think that's a nice component, for people who have been in the field and may be interested in joining right now, but, did not start the program in the fall semester.
Yeah, well, I certainly appreciate you guys sharing, because I think as I listen to you, recognizing how it's, 10 years from now, you can look back and go, wow, I wish I had started, I wish I had done this. and it may be difficult to look forward 10 years, 10 months even, but it's right around the corner and in less than a few days. So start now. You never know.
Yeah, I think one of the worst things that we find ourselves caught in is those what if scenarios. What if I had done this back then? What if I do this in the next, like you said, the next 2 weeks? And make that decision if you have the opportunity available to you. I encourage you to take that leap of faith, because oftentimes that's the biggest step. Once the ball gets rolling, it's go from there. So it's really just saying, I'm going to invest in myself. I'm taking, my future into my life, so that, if you ultimately want to be an entrepreneur, right? Like, give yourself that opportunity now to move forward, so that you can make that decision, whether it's the next 6 months or the next 2 years. And UCCI is here to help people with that. The beautiful thing as well is, of course, we've got, as normal, our payment plan options available to students. So, you don't have to pay for the full class up front. You can actually avail yourself of a payment plan. So in this time, we all need the flexibility, and UCCI understands that, I think, more than anyone. So we have payment plans available, multiple ways to pay as well. So we are encouraging current students and prospective students to visit the website ucci.edu.ky/myucci, and have a browse through those schedules. Look at the different options we have on how to pay and how you would get registered, and reach out to an admissions representative to have that discussion about how you can change your future.
Indeed. Well, thank you all, and certainly if it's just a phone call or an extended conversation, we invite you. I recognize we have the news time, but Dr. Stacy, any quick final comments you want to share with us?
Just, there's no time like the present to get started, and you will find UCCI alumni throughout the island, and they will be excited to know that you're furthering your education and working on becoming an alumnus as well. So we really thank our community for the support they've shown to UCCI over the years, and we look forward to another successful semester welcoming students to our virtual campus.
All right. Well, thank you both, and your colleagues and all the support cast. So hopefully, we'll start to move forward together, appreciating the value of education, and it transcends, politics and communities, and it builds lasting bridges. So thank you all very much. Continue to be safe. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Well, thanks to Miss Susan. We're going to go to the news break, and when we come back, Mr. Billy Adam will join us. We're going to talk about pensions. So if you've got questions, he has the answers. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news.
Access to information.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
The Family Resource Center continues its live webinar series for families tomorrow as part of their COVID-19 parenting campaign. The first webinar of the series launched last Wednesday, focusing on talking about COVID-19 and providing home learning support. To register, email the FRC at frc@gov.ky or tune in on the FRC's Facebook page. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. An investigation by BBC News Arabic has analyzed flight tracking data and open source footage which shows how Iran's largest airline, Mahan Air, continued to fly while government flight bans were in place and contributed to the spread of COVID-19 in the Middle East. Mahan Air ran hundreds of flights to and from Iran, Iraq, the United Arab Emirates, and Syria between late January and the end of March. And some toddlers spill milk in the kitchen or give their parents a headache by pulling the cat's tail. Well, 5-year-old Adrian took the family car and was only caught when police in Utah State stopped him on the freeway. A patrolman spotted the SUV weaving across lanes at 30 miles per hour and issued a traffic stop, duly obeyed by the driver. He was shocked to discover the child behind the wheel, who said he was on his way to buy a Lamborghini. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Social distancing is crucial for our community to get back to normal. And never before has communication been so crucial. Keeping in touch with family, friends, and up to date requires you to stay in touch. Green Turtle offers the solution for both. Download the Green Turtle app now. Top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination in Cayman. Phones delivered to your home, and with the new rewards program, you can even redeem points towards a new phone and other products. Download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Hashtag Stay Home Cayman. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
For nearly 20 years, King Sports Center has been the heart of the Cayman fitness and wellness community. In order to ensure the welfare of all, we are temporarily closed until further notified by the Cayman Islands government that it is safe to reopen. During these trying times, we encourage everyone to maintain a healthy lifestyle, mind, body, and soul. We look forward to continuing providing you with world-class service in the very near future. Remain strong and continue to show the world the power of Cayman unity. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation. Hello, Cayman. I'm Quincy Brown. Anybody else getting mixed up with all these new coronavirus terms? Me too. But guess what? I've watched the press conferences and I've read the press releases and I've seen all the social media posts. Look here, I can help you out. Essential staff, police officers, immigration, customs, doctors, nurses, first responders, they are essential staff. So if you got to ask, then you ain't. Una got it now? If Una want to stay up to the time with what's going on, there's only one place for the real information, the Cayman Islands government. Visit gov.ky/coronavirus. Now remember, keep washing your hands, keep following the rules, and keep taking care of each other. Saving lives is Caymankind.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. And just a quick reminder, check out UCCI for your continued education. It's a good time to get started in the summer. You can do it online and start now. Who knows where the journey will take you. Well, I'm honored to be joined by Mr. Billy Adam. Now, the phone lines are open. You can call and share your thoughts if you have a question. And as you know, Mr. Billy Adam has not just a wealth of experience and expertise, but a willing public sort of civic-minded individual who's there to share. As time goes on, we'll get increasingly when they have themselves available, some of the others directly involved. But Mr. Billy, good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon to you, sir. Good afternoon to everybody in Cayman.
Yeah, it's a different time for now, and I certainly appreciate you making yourself available and constantly being a public champion. I trust that more of us would do as you do. Read, research, and share that information to educate, inform, but also to encourage and inspire us to become knowledgeable and to realize how important it is to share that knowledge to get people to take positive and proactive action. So you're an inspiration, sir.
Yeah. Oh, you're too kind. No, I guess just the topical subject right now is pension. And we know the history of pension started in 1998. But unfortunately, the government has largely neglected, especially the political directorate, to keep up to date with what is going on in pension, both locally and overseas. And now the government has sponsored this raid on pensions to deplete pensions. And the whole idea and concept, in my mind, the only image that I can get from it, it went in as a little bunny rabbit and it has come out a camel. Why do I say that? The original talk was, when I heard the opposition talking about it, they were talking about $850 initially, I think, for 3 months, for persons that were unemployed. It went in to that concept. There was a letter, I think. I've not had a copy of the letter. I'm going to be asking for a copy of it, though, of the letter that the opposition wrote. And then it ended up coming out and reaching the Legislative Assembly. And what we heard there and what we've seen on press conferences is rather shocking, in that when the bill actually came out, it came out for all employees in the island. We have many employees in the islands, especially in the financial industry, who remain fully employed because, remember, they have made provision in thinking ahead for keeping going in times of disasters. They have alternative plans. They can set up wherever they have access to an internet, be it in Cayman, Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, Miami, Toronto, New York, wherever they are, and they're in business, wherever they have an internet connection and a computer. And so a lot of those employers, there was no cut in salary, there was no reduction, there was no need for them to seek an AU or any other form of financial assistance. But it went beyond that. The government went beyond that. And I use the word, we were betrayed by our government. And the whole Legislative Assembly gets that tagged with today from me. Every last one of them. So what they had done when they gone in is to dismantle private sector pensions. They said this is the beginning of the dismantling. And on top of that, they have said pretty well that they're going to start something else, which we don't know what form or shape it's going to take. But that's why it's sort of this camel thing, that what's went from a bunny rabbit to a camel. And they're going to use private sector funds. We can't call them pension funds anymore. Are going to go into some mysterious camel, and then the government is going to use this for infrastructure. They'll use it for hospitals. They'll use it for health care. And I can appreciate government finds themselves in a pickle to a certain extent, because they have been wooed by billionaire developers and certain people for certain reasons. I have my ideas what has happened behind the doors, the darkened doors, because they don't want to release information to us. They have waived the infrastructure fee. Infrastructure fees in development, where development pays its way, is very simple. You're going to need roads. You're going to need fire stations for all the people that you add and the industries you add. You're going to need schools for children. You're going to need medical facilities. You're going to need entertainment facilities, parks for people to go to, and places for recreation. We're going to need all these things for every person, new person that comes, for every facility that's built. And those things in countries and jurisdictions that plan ahead properly, they attach the cost of what this infrastructure is going to need. But here, we give them all kind of freebies. Oh, no, we're not going to charge you an infrastructure fee. You're not going to pay duties. You're not going to pay for this. You're not going to pay for that. And it is common in a lot of jurisdictions to give development these perks. When they come in, that they have these certain things to attract them. But what we have had here previously was a consumption-based taxation system where we pay fees for certain government services, and when overall government charges a duty on all imports. But that has now been destroyed, slowly destroyed. Some people get apartments when they do it in certain big condominiums and facilities, and all kinds of tricks is going on in that. And so our consumption-based taxation system is going out the window, and government will introduce, we still don't know the form of this camel yet, right? But it's been pretty well said in the press conferences and in the LA that in order to fund NAU and all these other social services, we're going to pay some tax. It's going to go into this fund. What is it going to be based on? Your income. That's what the pension, because pension is income replacement when you stop working in retirement, or your beneficiaries get it if you die before you reach there. But it's an income replacement fund, so therefore the fund has to be based on income. But the assets would be owned by the employee, not the government. These are private funds owned by the employee, not the company where he works, owned by the employee. That's going to go out the window. You're going to have no say over that. Government is now going to control this fund, to spend on whatever, to use as some slush fund to spend for political, to buy votes and all the various things that go on. And the people are being led like lambs to the slaughter. They're not examining what's going on. They're not questioning anything. And there was a law, the National Pensions Law. The employees paid the government to regulate, to ensure compliance with that law. The government has failed miserably over the years. And that responsibility lies with the ministry and the minister. Every minister who has been. Pensions has never had a political pension champion. Yes, sir, you want to say something?
Yeah, on each pension plan, I believe our understanding is that it could be $20, but there is a relatively small fee that is charged on each pension plan that you have. I think it's paid in January of each year. So if there are 50,000 of us working, and it's $10 or $20, that's the money you're talking about that's paid to government for the administration.
$1 million.
Okay.
That would be it's over $1 million, but as in your example, it would be $1 million.
Yeah. So that's the fee that every single private sector pension plan employee with a pension. Yeah. Could we ask then of you?
Government has failed them.
Yeah, you have served in the Chamber of Commerce. You started the pensions. You've been a public champion in relation to pensions. We go back to the reports from actuaries and the like.
Which government has ignored.
Right. We want to maybe get into some of that because this is a time when a lot of people are saying, employees in particular, are saying that they'll never see their pensions, so they may as well take something out before it's all gone. There are three questions that we may want to ask initially. Right? The first one, to confirm whether or not the law, as you understand it, that the employees of each company are the ones that decide which pension plan. So if the majority of employees were to get together and say, listen, you with pension plan A, we would like to move to pension plan C, that it is the employees and not the employer who has that final say. Is that what we understand? Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
That is what the law says. However,
Now, why? Sorry, getting you like, are you in the police helicopter? All right. Are you there? Huh.
I just have an earpiece in my head.
Okay. I can ask Mrs. Susan to intervene. I'm not hearing you that well, so hopefully it's good. But go ahead. Go ahead. I was wondering if the police helicopter to come for you. You there now, sir?
Okay, I'll hold it closer to my mouth. Yeah.
Yes. Sir.
Unfortunately, Dwayne, you have rightly pointed out that the selection of the pension plan
Hello, sir? Okay, Mr. Billy? Okay. All right, we're going to rejoin Mr. Billy now. I'm not going to get into this, that, or the next thing, but when Mr. Billy is talking, we should be paying attention because he's very knowledgeable. Let's connect up with him and tell your friends he's online, so you're going to want to learn. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Social distancing is crucial for our community to get back to normal. And never before has communication been so crucial. Keeping in touch with family, friends, and up to date requires you to stay in touch. Green Turtle offers the solution for both. Download the Green Turtle app now. Top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination in Cayman. Phones delivered to your home, and with the new rewards program, you can even redeem points towards a new phone and other products. Download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Hashtag Stay Home Cayman. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
Attention all blood donors, we need a pint from you. Join us at the National Blood Bank this Thursday, 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. The off-campus location at the Red Cross building across from the farmers market. Spend 15 minutes, give your pint, and save 3 lives. Curfew day not your day? Not a problem. Visit giveblood.ky, request your letter, and it will be emailed to you. The National Blood Bank Auxiliary location at the Red Cross building. Compliments of the Cayman Islands Red Cross. Community partners are Rotary Club Central, Generali Health Insurance, Car City Fosters Group, and the Cayman Blood Donor Service. Remember, when blood is needed, nothing else will do. This message is courtesy of the Rotary Club Central, supporting the National Blood Bank since 1999. Rotary, connecting the world.
Wow, looks good. What is that?
Chicken chair.
What did you just say to me?
Chicken chair.
I am not a chicken.
Whoa! I said chicken share. It's from KFC. Bucket of 12 hot wings, 6 pieces of chicken, or 8 tenders. KFC chicken share. Just $12 each.
Oh.
Want some chicken, tenders, or hot wings?
You're sharing your chicken share with me?
The new chicken share from KFC, just $12 each, and it's finger-licking good. Dine at KFC Baytown Plaza, KFC Shedden Road, or KFC at the Strand.
The RCIPS, National Drug Council, and Radio Cayman are reminding you to stay home, refrain from social gatherings, and having parties during soft and hard curfew. Do your part, limit alcohol consumption, or stay sober. Do not undermine your immune system and health by misusing alcohol or any other substance. Remember, we are all in this together. Stay safe, stay home, stay alive, Cayman.
Hello, Cayman. I'm Quincy Brown. Anybody else getting mixed up with all these new coronavirus terms? Me too. But guess what? I've watched the press conferences and I've read the press releases and I've seen all the social media posts. Look here, I can help you out. Shelter in place. Stay home. Stay out of Johnny Public. Got it now? If on a want to stay up to the time with what's going on, there's only one place for the real information: the Cayman Islands government. Visit gov.ky/coronavirus. Now remember, keep washing your hands, keep following the rules, and keep taking care of each other. Saving lives is Caymankind.
Start getting your debt under control with a debt consolidation loan from Fidelity Bank. At Fidelity, your loan decision is quick with no runaround. Plus, with competitive interest rates and fees, we will help you reduce your monthly payments and get you back to living again. Don't let the burden of overwhelming debt tie you down this year. Call Fidelity today and let's make it happen with a Fidelity Bank debt consolidation loan. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks for joining us. We're going to be going until our normal time today, God's willing, at 2:30, because the scheduled press briefing will be at 3 p.m. today. And we were just prior to the break talking to Mr. Billy Adam, and hopefully we can reconnect with him shortly and share, in his knowledge, certainly his passion, and I believe very much that he has, been one of those public, civic-minded individuals who, in my view, always likes to champion the greater good in the public interest. And it certainly is a number for him. There are a number of things that are important. There is certainly a great deal of encouragement from speaking to someone like him. So hopefully we can connect up with him. Now it is going to be open line because the show must go on, right? They don't pay me just to sit around here, do they? Maybe they do. All right. What I am grateful for is the wonderful team that we have, and we have, just as a quick opportunity maybe to share with you in the Vino pensions, but you can call and share your thoughts with us until if we're able to reconnect with Mr. Billy and go over that discussion. And I have a couple of sort of frequently asked questions under the National Pensions Amendment Law 2020 that were sort of put up with the Department of Labor and Pensions that we can share with our listeners. But I've also been asked by a few people following the announcement Friday and then yesterday with Honorable Premier in relation to his release of 6,000 people or thereabouts. What that would mean. Now, for some of us, you can get your pools clean, great. You can also get the mobile car wash service to come. That's encouraging. And then, of course, the garden companies are out and about. Some have seen the increase in traffic already on the roads and how horrendous that has been. And then there are a few who have asked, well, is construction, back up and running? Well, my understanding is that no, not yet, but probably in short order. The Honorable Premier did say that in 2 weeks' time, on about the 18th, depending on how the tests go, that would be one of the things. Now, he also did say that construction sites, during the press briefing, he shared construction sites can be one of those challenges because of the nature of the work that people have to sort of interact at times more closely. But a few people asked, the question whether they were open already, because like me, they apparently may have seen what looked to have been, sort of site supervisors, subcontractors that are like surveying sites. I'll use it in that vein, maybe in anticipation of going back to their job sites. The scenario that I witnessed, 4 individuals, and if they were any closer together, they would look like that American football game in a huddle. So I guess maybe it doesn't apply to them. Who knows, huh? Well, share your thoughts with us. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Likewise, some are constantly asking the whole issue with respect to, what does things look like when we finish up with it, and how come, the fellow who's operating a mobile car wash, we're considering he can go to one customer, and whether there is any interaction or engagement with the customer, they socially distance, maintain the payments are as electronic as possible. But that person goes to another site and so on and so forth. Like the contractors and the construction workers and the like, they go back home to their respective households and families. Are they potentially putting themselves and the wider community at risk at this stage, given all of the sort of praise that have been heaped on some and the endeavors to keep what seems to be a very tight fist on the community? Uh, with that in mind, likewise, are we looking at what is going to transpire down the road? A few of you perhaps have seen, as I have, those working in the gardening trade, in their company vehicles, whether two or three in the vehicle. Do they live in the same household? As some have asked, are they sufficiently, you know, far enough apart? Are they, when driving together like that, putting themselves and others at greater risk? Now that we're back to open up more and more. Now, questions have to be asked, as some have said, to what extent our continued measures are sustainable from the economic perspective? Are we putting, greater harm to the economy? Some have countered, and I'm just repeating what some of you have shared, but also some of what I've, speculated as I've tried to understand this myself. Doing what I think has been asked of us to think, to ask questions, to try to analyze, to understand, as we continue to go about in a very civilized, responsible manner, being as compliant, and hopefully, not too long from now, we'll get back to a better space, but not necessarily, you know, uh, have given up any great freedoms and found ourselves, as some have been, commenting online, further and further into a draconian state, a police state, or however else they may have concluded. So the questions that we're asking of you is to share your thoughts with us. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. I feel it for those who love to fish, not just as a way to, rethink, their own mental health, to, remind themselves of the importance of what they do, who they are, but to reconnect with nature and to put themselves in a better mental sphere. But for those commercial, fishermen who can't now provide for their families and can't put food on the table, but they have to be subjected to this continued stuff, huh? Well, I'm sure that's going to be a continued debate. Let's go back to the phones though and join Mr. Billy. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Yes, sir. Whatever happened, happened. But anyway, I'm back again.
We will persevere. You can't keep a good man down,
Come on. I don't know. Where did it cut off at? What were we talking about?
I had asked about the pension plan, who controls it, whether it's the employer or employee, and you were starting to answer that for us. That it is under the law the employees who decide which plan that they would like to invest their funds, and then there were some other questions that we want to ask, but you share with us because we want to learn as well. But we have some other questions. But go ahead, sir.
Okay. Yes, it is the employees are supposed to select, but that has not occurred in all cases, because the way the direction some pension plans are taken is that financial institutions, banks, insurance companies, for instance, they establish pension plans, and then they bundle financial services, other financial services, along with pensions, and they give people a break if they get the pension plan also as part of the business deal. Lower interest rates, extension of loans, and other things like that has occurred. Now, again, I point this out because this is where the National Pensions Office and the government has failed the employees, because they have not been vigilant to ensure that there is compliance with that section of the law, to be sure that it is actually a vote. And they have not required or seen the vote, they haven't followed up on it. And I would just remind everybody that is involved, that is the employees, that this law is unlike any other law to deal with finance. The banks are established for the banks to make a profit for the shareholders. The insurance companies are the same thing. The law firms, the accounting firms. A pension plan, Section 2 of the law, says this law is for the establishment and maintenance of pension plans for the benefit of employees in the island. Employees are the only shareholders in pension. Employees pay all expenses, including what you were talking about, the $20 for government. Government is a service provider to the employees, the pension plan members in Cayman. Not everywhere is it set up like this. But the pension plan members have not been educated. That was all part of the pension law. They were supposed to educate the public. They were supposed to carry out studies. And those things haven't happened then. It's been a failure. There's never been a political pension champion as yet on it. And because of that, you find that pensions have never reached where it should reach. The annual report, did we discuss that before we cut off?
No, not as yet, no.
Okay. The pension law, Section 85, requires an annual report from the pension board and the National Pension Fund.
All right. We're losing some of you now, sir.
I'm going to put it back on my jaw.
I have to wonder. I have to wonder.
So they are supposed to submit this annual report, which would give the Cayman Legislative Assembly and would also give Caymanian people a status, a picture, like an audit of the status of pensions in Cayman. The last annual report to be submitted to the Legislative Assembly was for the year 2007 and 8. Since then, pension boards have submitted plans, have submitted the reports, but those reports, in violation of the law, were not sent to the Legislative Assembly. The law requires at the next sitting of the Legislative Assembly. Some of those reports, while I was on the board, were sent back to the board to rewrite the reports. No. This is a board report, not a ministry, not a minister report. We are giving a candid opinion on the status of pensions and what's not being right, what's right, and the statistics on it. This isn't there to doctor it up to make people look good when they're not doing a good job. So consequently, government never put those pension reports forward. And they never ever reached. In 2016, when they did a revision to the law, because government didn't like the steps that the board was taking and what was happening, when they passed that law, they pretty well removed a lot of the responsibility of what the board, the oversight, to look out for the employees in the island. And as we said before, government has been paid over $1 million a year to work on behalf of the pension plan members, the employees in our islands, and they have failed miserably over the years. The report that was done, the Mercer report that was done back in 2007, been totally ignored by government. Totally ignored. You say you had some more questions, sir?
Yes, sir. I was looking at the whole issue. For those who are listening, we are honored that Mr. Bill Adam was able to spare some time with us to talk about the pensions. How could you maybe give us an understanding to understand how our pension funds operate? There are some who perhaps don't understand, some who've shared, and we've asked others who've shared, well, how is your plan operating? They say, well, you're like a unit trust. You buy shares in this thing, and it's like a company, and then you got to cash it in. And then there are some who say, well, no. What it is, it's like a mutual fund, and it's this and that. So, do you know how it works? And if so, can you help us to understand how our pension fund regime, the scheme, the machinery, is it like buying shares in a company? How does it work?
Okay, well, pensions fall into two broad types and categories. One is called a defined benefit.
Uh-huh.
A defined benefit, and the law covers both kinds. So,
right.
A defined benefit is like the pension plan the government had for civil servants up until 1999.
The defined benefit. So you know what you get when you retire.
So, that accumulates at the rate of 1.5% per year.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there's an allowance for inflation to increase it each year when you go into retirement. And then you have a guy that's called an actuary. He looks at the age of the people. He looks at how many people are going to be leaving before they do what they call vesting. That means you're going to get a benefit at the end of the day, even if you don't work out to retirement age with government. They look at what the expected returns on investments are, because you have to account for inflation, because you put in $1 today. Well, let's go back. You put in $1 in 1970 into a pension plan. You cannot buy today what you could buy in 1970 with $1. Sugar, flour, whatever you want to buy.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that, what happens is, currency loses value over time because prices increase. So what you can buy for that is less. So you have to invest the money. And by investing the money, you're able to keep up with inflation, plus make a certain amount of profit over that. So allow your money to grow, just like a plant would grow.
Right.
So
the defined benefit, the defined contribution, okay, we
So in both of them, in
mm-hmm.
both plans, funds have to be invested. You
Mm-hmm.
don't collect the money and put it in a pot and put it up on a shelf.
Right.
Because then the money will not have the same value when you retire.
Because of inflation.
Right.
Right.
And so you want it to grow. So in 1999, well, up to that point in time, and the government had their first actuarial valuation for the risk of what it's going to cost for them to pay these pensions under the defined benefit in the future. They were underfunded by $300 and some million.
Mm-hmm.
And so what the government did was, and the contribution rate to fund it needed to be about 29% of salary. But the government didn't want to do that. They didn't want to pay to keep people on that plan. So what they did was, they started a defined contribution plan with a contribution rate of 12% of salary.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's simple. You put money into you put water into a cistern, you can draw water out. If you don't put water into the cistern, you're not going to have any water to draw out.
Mm-hmm.
It's a simple analogy. And that is, now you're going to lose some to evaporation over a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
But the civil servants that are on the old scheme, the defined benefit up to 1999, their monthly pension value they're going to receive is going to be about half what the people that have been employed by government since 1999 come forward. It's as simple as that. So the pension plan that private sector people have, over the years, there used to be defined benefit, but most of them have dropped by the wayside, and it's what they call defined contribution.
Right.
So you have a certain amount you put in. Again, that is invested, and is supposed to provide a return on investment. But then you still have an actuary that takes a look at it, and then based on his calculations and forecasting for return on investment, the operating expenses and all that, they come up with what is an adequacy report. Will it be adequate?
Mm-hmm.
And what is adequate in the pension, people think? Well, when you retire, you don't necessarily need to live or have an income that what you would be earning in your last peak years of earning. Most people, the most they'll ever earn is the last year of employment because they've reached the end of their career. But they don't have the children in school, a lot of them. They would have paid off for their house with a mortgage. They don't have to dress up every day and go out and the expenses of going to work. So it's figured out pretty well and accepted that somewhere between 60 and 75% of your salary at retirement, if you can get that each month, then you can maintain your lifestyle that you have at retirement.
Given those assumptions of children out in school and the mortgage paid off, but then you think of the golden years and the desire, if you have the health, you would like to correspond your wealth in order to travel. Now, when we come back, could we continue? We have a short break. Could we ask this other question? You talked about defined benefit and defined contribution, and just expound a little bit further with the pension fund, how that thing is sort of structured and invested. And we recognize that it's not like a bank account, a fixed deposit where you got the money and you take out. It's not under your mattress. But maybe if not to be pedantic, but maybe if there's a way to kind of get people to understand, because we're hearing about, well, there's a waiting period and there's this issue of getting it valued and the net asset value calculations and the like. But how some of that works and why it's that way. And then we can maybe talk about some other things. In particular, this notion that people are being told, well, their plans are now 20, 30, 40% less than they were 3 months ago or a year ago. Could we talk about some of that as well?
Sure.
All right, perfect. I'm going to pause and take a break, and when we come back, well, stay tuned.
Staying home has just got a whole lot easier. Cayman Spirits has now launched a new delivery service, offering free home delivery of hand sanitizers and face masks. When COVID-19 struck Cayman, Cayman Spirits answered the call, repurposing their facilities to produce hand sanitizer during the island-wide shortage. Now that service is coming to your front door. Search for the Rum Runners in the App Store or visit rumrunners.ky to place your order of hand sanitizer and face mask. Free delivery with purchase of $50 or more. Rumrunners.ky by Cayman Spirits. Hashtag Stay Home Cayman.
It's time to stay steady in the summer and be ready for the fall. Summer 2020 classes begin on May 11th, and there has never been a more opportune time for you to invest in your future with online classes at UCCI. Do your part to keep our island safe and stay home Cayman while furthering your educational goals. Continue or start your success story today by visiting ucci.edu.ky/myucci to find out more about the enrollment process. Call 623-8224 or email info@ucci.edu.ky to learn more.
Headlines. With the latest headlines.
One of Cayman's bright and shining young stars.
Local, regional, international.
Turning to international news. Updates on the hour between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. on weekdays. All the news when you want it. Tune in to Radio Cayman for hourly headlines of the day's top stories.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Hello, Cayman. I'm Quincy Brown. Anybody else getting mixed up with all these new coronavirus terms? Me too. But guess what? I've watched the press conferences and I've read the press releases and I've seen all the social media posts. Look here, I can help you out. Stay home. Leave Granny alone. Darling child, that means we can't be visiting our old people because they're more compromised. We gotta keep them safe. Anna got it now? If Anna want to stay up to the time with what's going on, there's only one place for the real information, the Cayman Islands government. Visit gov.ky/coronavirus. Now remember, keep washing your hands, keep following the rules, and keep taking care of each other. Saving lives is Caymankind.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. And again, a special thanks to Mr. Billy Adam for giving us a perspective as we go forward. Hope we'll be able to get some more input from some of the others who are more directly involved with this. But for now, the expertise and certainly the public spiritedness of Mr. Billy is most welcome. Mr. Billy,
Yes, sir.
if I might, yes, sir, if I may continue to sort of engage you, we were asking just prior, and if it's not, then we'll move on. But this idea that people are saying, one, there is this calculation that has to be had, and we understand that. And because of that, we want to kind of ask how the fund works. It's not like the money's under your mattress or in your wallet. It's not like it's in a fixed deposit or some other sort of more liquid, accessible place. But is it like shares in a publicly traded company, and so you sell your shares? How do you realize your amount of money, despite whatever calculations relation to net asset value? Do you know how that technical aspect of it works?
Okay. Or if you want to find out anything new, look at what? Yes. Go back to old timers. Okay? Because there's hardly anything new. There's nothing new under the sun. The old saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. I'm sure you heard that growing up.
Yeah.
What does that mean in regards to pensions? That means diversify. Have various things where you're going to invest your money. And then, of course, you track it. And some will rise and some will fall throughout. Just that happens just like the tide going up and down. And so you watch it and you understand and you try to find out and accept that. And so investments are in various countries, in various currencies, and in various companies within the countries, and various types of investment. For instance, you don't want all your investments to be in airplanes. You don't want all of them to be in banks or hotels. You want corn, all the various commodities, and then in the various countries. And between countries, some investments will end up in the UK, which is could be a pound investment or could be a US dollar investment. And it's that's simplistic, I know, but you're diversifying. And with proper management, you're reducing risk rather than putting it all the eggs into one basket.
Fair enough.
Some people say must put it all in Cayman dollars and all here. Well, if you do that, go ahead.
No, that's fine. What we'll do, we'll probably maybe expound that in a separate, but we do have a caller joining us.
Sure.
Let's invite that caller into a discussion. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good afternoon. I guess you've got a really topical, I guess, discussion going on there today. It seems to be a hot topic in the community. And you got Billy on, I guess, one of the CI pension gurus here. But, and this question directly towards him and you, Billy. Have you ever heard of the grass piece pension plan?
What, sir?
The grass
piece pension plan.
Did you say grass piece?
Grass piece.
Grass piece pension plan? You mean land?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, not necessarily to mean the pension plan or the investment. That can be one type of the investment. Is that what you mean? Is that where you're going?
Yeah. Well, for many years in Cayman, that was the pension plan. You can go back 150 years and trace it.
Agree.
Okay. All right. Now, how was that? How was that conducted? That plan was under the control of the individual. In other words, and the process, they bought grass species. In short, property.
Right.
They used that property to produce cattle, or in some cases, a lot of cases, provisions. The grass piece was increasing in value all the time. They were making basically a part of their living off of what the grass piece was producing. Now, they didn't do a guinea grass piece to feed goats, or a paragrass grass piece to feed goats. They had a plan, and in fact, in most of those going back 135, 150 years, most of those fellas, they diversified because they usually had another, and some of them had two other pension resources. National Maritime Union, which there were many Caymanians involved in the National Maritime Union, and Social Security. Now, I think there has to be an educational system, and you made reference to it a while back. Diversify. But I don't think there's enough emphasis on educating, especially our young folks who are coming up, and I'm not sure that they even thought about when they get 75, 80 years old, how it's going to be. And nobody really knows how it's going to be, but you have to think and plan a little bit for it. And I think there has to be a real educational system put in place to educate our people about pensions. And looking at the grass piece process, if you base it on that, you can't go wrong. But again, I think a lot of the problems that many pension plans fall into is that too much politics gets involved. And that happened with the NMU pension plan also, and also the SIU pension plan. And I think it's happening with the Social Security pension plan. But I think the more control that the individual can have on his plan, he basically should know what he needs or what he thinks he's going to need, then I believe that is the best way forward.
Well, you finished, sir?
Yeah, I'm listening to you now.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't agree with you more. And that's one of the duties that the National Pensions Office was charged with under the law to be doing, performing those functions of education. But it should even go further than that. Financial literacy should be taught in our primary schools the whole way up so people understand, just the same way governance should be taught. But it doesn't suit some people to do that. Because a lot of places, when they retire, but not when they retire, when they graduate, one of the first things they'll start to get from some of these financial institutions is a credit card. And a credit card is the biggest chain around the neck of people to keep them in debt. For the rest of their life, they never get their credit card paid off. And back to your grass piece, I fully agree that what has been. Land has been a thing that provided retirement for a lot of people. But just think about it. The land back then was owned by Caymanians. The exchange was between Caymanians. Nowadays, Caymanians own very little land, very little grass pieces, because most of the meat that we eat is imported anyway. And so the self-sufficiency principles of life have gone out the window here. I mean, just look at, you can get your car washed, you can get your pet groomed, but you can't get fresh produce in the farmer market. You can't find a way to make that to work yet.
Or go fishing.
And same thing with fishing. You can't go out and catch fish yet. And so, I agree with you, Mr. Loxley. Perfect. You are right. And so that was one of the reasons why it was seen that because the land is sold off, a lot of people today have very little land to sell, and most people not enough to fund them in retirement years. And so something else needed to be done. And that meant saving, putting aside in a plan enough funds to fund you in your retirement years. And that was what was supposed to happen, but government failed to regulate it properly. It's been some success. I mean, there's over $1 billion of employees' funds in the various pension plans today. That's nothing to sneeze at. It's a lot of money, and a lot of people have. Otherwise, they would have nothing at retirement. Because the other wicked thing that has happened here is that they're expecting people to live on the same wages. Sugar gone up, everything has gone up, but you must live at the same wages, especially at the lower end of the salary scale, that you earned back in the 70s.
Yeah. Now, gents, we do have the news break. Respectfully, we pause to take that. We can continue. We also have another caller join us. So just, stay with us and we'll continue after the news.
Your 2 p.m. headlines brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile. Saving lives today.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have, on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice. For today's biggest news.
Access.
Local, regional, international. This is headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom team.
Today's biggest news.
Here's an update on the latest COVID-19 in the Cayman Islands. One positive test underscores the need for careful hand hygiene, social distancing, and the wearing of masks when in confined public places. Even one person who has COVID-19 can pass on to scores of others unwittingly. With 92% of Little Cayman testing negative and the remainder 8% testing underway, that island will have restrictions eased today. On Cayman Brac, 400 screened, which is 20% of that island's population of 2,000, and screening continues. Depending on results, Cayman Brac restrictions could be eased later this week. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. A woman has been charged along with her husband and son with killing a security guard who refused her daughter entry to a shop because she was not wearing a face covering. 43-year-old Calvin Murnley was shot in the back of the head on Friday at the Family Dollar store in Flint, Michigan, one of the U.S. states hardest hit by the pandemic. The mother's husband, 44-year-old Larry Tegee, and son, 23-year-old Ramonia Bishop, are accused of going to the store shortly afterwards and fatally attacking Mr. Munalin. And more than 3 billion people will be living in places with near unlivable temperatures by 2070, according to a new study. Unless greenhouse gas emissions fall, large numbers of people will experience average temperatures hotter than 29 Celsius. This is considered outside the climate niche in which humans have thrived for the past 6,000 years. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Your 2 p.m. headlines brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app, the future of mobile. Saving lives today.
Social distancing is crucial for our community to get back to normal. And never before has communication been so crucial. Keeping in touch with family, friends, and up-to-date requires you to stay in touch. Green Turtle offers the solution for both. Download the Green Turtle app now. Top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination in Cayman. Phones delivered to your home, and with the new rewards program, you can even redeem points towards a new phone and other products. Download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Hashtag Stay Home Cayman. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
And good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks again to Mr. Billy Adam for sharing his insight and hopefully encouraging us to ask questions to become informed. Mr. Billy, it certainly is a change in time. And we do have some other callers, and I want to thank Mr. Loxley equally for sharing that.
Can I ask Billy a
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Billy, you say we got over $1 billion invested in what we could call local pension funds. Is that correct? That's what I heard you say.
Repeat that for me again, please, Mr. Law. Repeat that for me.
I said, you said that you think that we got over $1 billion in the local pension funds.
Yes, sir.
Accumulated. Yeah. Now, are there anything that would keep the fund handlers for these things from investing in some of that locally?
No, sir. Those funds could be invested like in CUC. Personally, the reason I hesitated there a little bit, because I know the pension plan of which I was a member, but still a member, because I'm taking a certain amount out each year, which went off track in many respects, and the National Pensions Office didn't do what they were supposed to do to those people, because they invested for some years in violation of the law, and they didn't take any action against them. And some of the people involved in that refused to invest locally, in my mind, simply because they weren't getting the commissions, because you could go CUC and buy it from the company secretary.
I think that's where the political...
But when you have a government that you're paying to do a job and they fail to do it, then they're all going to eat your supper. And that is what happened to us.
No. Well,
they have failed. It's not fit for purpose, the government regulation.
I think
that's why they don't want to submit their annual reports to the LA.
Yeah.
Now, I just want to just say something. Dwayne, you were saying about the people say, oh, how much money has been lost. Now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is only one measure of the financial market and investments, average investment.
Mm-hmm.
In December of last year, okay, the Dow Jones, at the end of December, it was at about 2,300 and something, 23,000, the index. Then, when the COVID thing happened, then there was a big panic, and as we know, you get these big panics that happen, and it dropped to about 18,000. From 23,000, it dropped to about 18,000. And then, on May the 5th, at this point in time, it is now back up to 24,000. So it is above what it was in December of last year. Anybody? Just Google it. You can find it. This is nothing that is, I hold the information. This is public information. So it's going to bounce up and down. It always does, always will. But you don't look at a lifetime of working and the which 35, 40 years. And you're going to find sometimes it's up and sometimes a little down. But the general trend over the last century and a half is that there is an increase over time, overall.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, we do have some other callers, and respectfully, Miss, just want to get to him. Any other last comments, sir? Mr. Loxley?
Yeah, well, I think if you look back at what we talked about, the grass peace process, I think if some of that $1 billion was invested in some of the local funds that again you would be you'd be investing in the local economy. By investment in that local economy, that's going to spur other spin-offs, and it's just a win-win-win. So I don't see why some of this money can't be invested in some of the local economy.
Yes, sir.
I'll leave you with that.
I just would like to say that Mr. Loxley called me 916-0707. You call me, and I'll send a link to you for the investment regulation. And in there, when you read the investment regulation, you'll read the possibility of local investment. At the same time, there are certain requirements on audits. The company must have made a profit over certain periods of time. And there are not too many opportunities to invest locally in a properly structured company. But there are opportunities. And it's a shame that they have been not taken up and invested where the opportunities are.
Well, I think that's the point. There are some that could be invested. So
yes,
your number again, 916 what?
916-0707, sir.
707. Wow,
yes,
wow.
707 aircraft. Before the 707 aircraft, there was no plane like it. Nothing then came to 707. I know you like planes, so that's for you.
All right.
That's for you. Okay.
Okay, Ms. Loxley, we'll talk again. But Mr. Miller, we do have another caller or two. Let's go to the phones. Good afternoon. Yes, thank you for calling. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dwayne.
How are you, my friend? How are you today?
Okay.
Thank you for calling.
Yeah, Mr. Billy there too?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Listening attentively to you, as I always do.
Okay, Mr. Billy. Few questions I'd like to ask you. The Auditor General made a report a few months ago concerning concessions being given away that were illegal.
Yes, sir.
And the country has nothing to show for it. And that money belongs to the people, right?
Supposed to be, but some people think it's their own to do with it as they wish and they get away with it.
Okay. Well, if the government collected that money, which was hundreds of millions of dollars over the years, if the government collected that money and put it into a pension fund, and say they put it in a bank, and they were making interest off that money, and that money was towards a pension fund for the Caymanian people, would that be okay?
Well, again, it comes back to pension is when people save for themselves during their working years. What you're talking about would be like a social security fund where, because of need, this is the real meaning of the social security fund, is because of need. Somebody dies in, at 30 years old, they have some children, and he hadn't been able to build up wealth. Well, the government comes in and they'll help those people to get on their feet and to still survive. Somebody has a stroke at 30 years old, they're laid up for the rest of their life and they don't have any reserves. That's the type of thing. But those funds, really, that they have not been paid, Those were like for infrastructure funds, to build the roads, to build the schools, to have the parks for people to go, the post offices, all the various upkeep, the running of government, and for the capital expenses. And that's what a lot of these developers have got away with. They've built their own facilities and the roads through their own development. But the people that are in those developments go out in other parts of Cayman and they impact the traffic. Just ask people coming in from the east that are coming in to work. And then they're wanting to take the population to 100,000. Total madness. Because it displaces people, and development has not paid its way in the Cayman Islands since the Butler brothers built their apartments on the beach. Because when they built their apartments, they paid duty on everything that came in. Since then, people have been building and not paying their way. And they get away with it, and the public allows it to happen.
Well, Mr. Billy.
Yep, sir.
Okay. That money belongs to the people, right?
It should, but it's not there.
Yeah.
People get apartments and buildings and all kind of stuff.
So the government gave away all that money, hundreds of millions of dollars, and nothing to show for it.
Yes, sir.
Right?
And still doing it. But some of this stuff is going to go on for the next 30-odd years.
Okay. So don't you think it would have been better and would still be better if the government collected this money and put it into a pension fund for the Caymanian people? Because right now the employer is paying a percentage, the employee is paying a percentage, and then by collecting this money for these concessions and putting it towards a pension fund, that the government is also able to contribute to the Caymanian people also. Instead of giving it away to millionaires and multi-millionaires and billionaires like that, who don't need to worry about no pension. That is what I'm trying to get across, and the question I'm trying to ask you today. Don't you think it would be better for them to collect this money, put it towards a pension fund for the Caymanian people instead of giving it to billionaires and multi-millionaires like that and a bunch of them?
Okay, I'm not...
With that question, Mr. Billy, just respectfully, because we're in news and I haven't been hitting the bricks, let's answer that question after the break. So please stay tuned.
Social distancing is crucial for our community to get back to normal. And never before has communication been so crucial. Keeping in touch with family, friends, and up to date requires you to stay in touch. Green Turtle offers the solution for both. Download the Green Turtle app now. Top up yours or a loved one's phone with any mobile carrier in any destination in Cayman. Phones delivered to your home, and with the new rewards program, you can even redeem points towards a new phone and other products. Download the Green Turtle app today. Green Turtle is not only the future of mobile, but today it can help save a life. Hashtag Stay Home Cayman. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.
It's time to stay steady in the summer and be ready for the fall. Summer 2020 classes begin on May 11th, and there has never been a more opportune time for you to invest in your future with online classes at UCCI. Do your part to keep our island safe and stay home Cayman while furthering your educational goals. Continue or start your success story today by visiting ucci.edu.ky/myucci to find out more about the enrollment process. Call 623-8224 or email info@ucci.edu.ky to learn more.
Home, which should be a haven, can even be less of a safe space during curfew if someone is experiencing child abuse. If you or anyone you know is being abused, help is nearby. For emergencies, call 911. They will redirect your call to the relevant agencies. For general guidelines and inquiries, call the Multi-Agency Safeguarding Hub, MASH, at 1-800-534 2273 or 945-0545. Alternatively, email mash@gov.ky.
Hello, Cayman. I'm Quincy Brown. Anybody else getting mixed up with all these new coronavirus terms? Me too. But guess what? I've watched the press conferences and I've read the press releases and I've seen all the social media posts. Look here, I can help you out. Stay at home. Stay home. No gad about it. Stay your backside home. Una got it now? If Una want to stay up to the time with what's going on, there's only one place for the real information, the Cayman Islands government. Visit gov.ky/coronavirus. Now remember, keep washing your hands, keep following the rules, and keep taking care of each other. Saving lives is Caymankind.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And we have the excellent company of Mr. Bill Adam. I must say, Mr. Bill, that if he doesn't mind me sharing, when Mr. Mario Ebanks was the Director of Labor and Pensions and the Acting Superintendent for Pensions, he had a monthly show and it was educational. It certainly gave us an insight into our pensions legislation, the whole issue of the labor law and the like. And maybe as we continue, we can revisit some of that going forward. So in that same vein, I offer up thanks to you for helping us at the very least ask some questions, maybe gain some, further knowledge at the very least of what is transpiring. We see, Mr. Billy, that in Bermuda, I'm told they will be pursuing a similar, as you said, rate on their pensions as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They paid out a certain flat amount to all unemployed workers up there, and now they're talking about doing a similar thing to what Cayman has done here. I guess somebody told them from here, suggested to them that they do it. I would just like to go back to the last caller, and it's a valid question he asked.
It is, yes.
And if when you earn money, there's a certain minimum you need to earn to sustain life. And when the government has a minimum wage that is below a living wage, then you set people up for when they reach retirement years, they're not going to have enough to retire on, to stop working. So you find a lot of elderly people in the workforce still because they can't stop working because there's nothing has been put aside, or not sufficient has been put aside for them. And what none of the politicians that I have heard in recent times, not saying they haven't done it, but I have heard zero serious discussion about getting the minimum wage to a living wage, which in my gut feeling can be not 1 penny less than $10 an hour in the Cayman Islands for our cost of living. Not 1 penny less. Because where they're paying now, so many people, some of it starts out at $4.50 an hour. That is slave wages. I'm sorry. Slave wages. And government should be ashamed of themselves for allowing that to remain down at those areas. But you see, when you keep people like that in need, then they depend on the politician to support them. And that's a good way to control them.
All right. Well, we do have another caller, Mr. Billy. Let's go to the phones. Welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Hello. Good afternoon, Dwayne.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you?
Fine, thanks to you, sir. Good afternoon to Mr. Billy.
Afternoon,
I want to agree with you guys about your pension. But if you don't mind, I have a different topic I would like to see if you can look into it or see if you can get some answers for me, please, if that's not a problem.
Oh, go right ahead.
Okay. I overheard it. I'm not 100% sure as to what it was. I only overheard it this morning on the radio. It wasn't Rooster and it wasn't Radio Cayman. It could have been Z99, or 92.7 or one of those other radio stations. I was actually trying to search for routes at the time and overheard the conversation while moving the station. They said that we're going to have Batabanu parade this weekend. Now, I would like for you to look into it because I can't believe that. I mean, we're in a crisis now, and I know, there are things that to bring back revenue and stuff like that. But we're in a crisis now, and we just barely getting out of a prayer where we was asking God to bless the island and everything. And if this is what we're going to do now to show Him the appreciation by getting in the street and tearing up like how they always do, might not be exactly that way or whatever, but
right. Well,
that's the kind of thing we can give God for what He done for us. I would ask you to look into it, me, please.
Well, what I share with you, the little bit that I understand, and we gather that there is going to be a virtual online sort of thing, how it's going to work and who's doing it and what it is. Forgive me, I don't have that knowledge. I can find out. But I did see something that it's going to be virtual, it's online. People are not going to be on the streets as you've seen in the past, but it is something that is happening, but it's going to be a virtual parade, as it were.
Well, I know that people are so upset because, as I said, we just get out of a prayer and fasting for 72 hours. Asking God to bless our island and everything, and now this is the thanks that we're offering. Oh, we're on thankful set of people, I can tell you that. Whoever it is that want to do such a thing, I can't believe that this is where we're going to go now to give God thanks. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Okay, thank you too and have a good day. Mr. Billen, let's see if we can take a couple more calls as well. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon, ma'am.
How
are you? Yes, ma'am. Well, Mr. Billen.
Okay. What I want to say, we are not having Batabanu on the road. Okay, it is no road thing. We're just having it at our homes. Whoever's a coordinator, have a little thing by their home. No pile of people. Like, I live in the front here, I'm putting up a mannequin with a costume and maybe a little music. That is all. Nobody's out on the road. Everybody can be in their homes. That is what it is. That is all to it. There's nobody on the road, no trucks, nothing. We need more sense and go out there and make government charge us all that money. I'm going to sit in my yard, have my COVID costume dressed up, and then you hear a little carnival music, and we need some little thing to get us out of this world, You understand? But we're not having nothing on the street. We cannot go on the road. There will be no trucks. There will be no costumes on the road. It will be in people's personal yard, and mine will be in my yard. I got my costume dressed up. You cannot come into my yard, okay? You can cross, take a picture, and walk by. I'll be sitting on my porch to run everybody that try to come in. In fact, I will block it off with a car. So nothing like that is going on. But we need to call it because let me tell you something. And let me speak the truth now. Everybody in Cayman is a Christian except us people who play carnival. But when you go to church every day, is what's in your heart and your mind. Because your heart and your mind not clean, you could go to church every day. It'd be like what Mr. Brown told me there. You would have to look in at. There same sinners that running Batabanu while we looking at another that we thought that was Christian. And I think about that. And I must think about an soul. And I must think about being good to people. Have a clean mind. Don't hate nobody. Because the hate and not being greedy to get money. So don't worry about the Batabanu people. Because I wouldn't be showing my bum, but I will be dancing every time I got a good music. Come on. But it wouldn't be showing my bum. But my costume, but then come take a picture of the COVID article grass costume. It's an unusual costume, but nobody will be out on the road. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too, Ma. You too. Well, let's take one more before we get back to Mr. Billing. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Welcome.
Yeah, Mr. D.
Been a while, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm enjoying the rain and the sun. Same time.
Yeah, man. It's been a while. We haven't had the rain, eh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. More to come.
Amen.
Good afternoon to you and good afternoon to Mr. Billy.
Hi, sir.
Yes, sir. Let me just tell you, right, this show right here, this what you put on right here, this been very interesting and you know when you're learning off of something. Educational, been very, very educational to me. But Mr. Billy, if I could just ask you one question.
Yes, sir.
Please. If what you're describing is not corruption, then what is this?
I told you some people should have been in jail, and I meant it.
Yeah. So I mean, what other than corruption, and is it just the way how things go, or how these people still allowed or still walking the street? I mean, like how you say that all.
Ask the police. Ask the general. Ask the ombudsman. Ask somebody bigger than me. I'm just a lowly person,
Oh yeah.
I'm not a law enforcement. All I can tell you is they haven't done their job. They have failed, and failed miserably.
Yeah,
and the political arm of our government, who have the responsibility for this, have not ensured or stopped the reports from coming forward. And I know up until 2014, all the annual reports were there to be submitted to the Legislative Assembly. And if they're sitting down there, then that means they violated the law, the Penal Code, Section 121. Dwayne, did you ever look it up there?
Yes, sir. Mr. Billy,
You might want to read it for us before we close.
Okay, if I may ask of you though, and just respectfully ask the callers stay online, I just want to make sure when you say all the annual reports were done. Now we know that between like 2010, 2014, a lot of all annual reports were done. There were, I was thinking back to the media reports at the time. Some people commended and some people condemned the naming and the shaming of those chronic non-compliance that were there, right? If those reports were done,
subject to the annual reports.
Yes, sir. But if the annual reports were done, they would have been done at a level, I guess, at the government level, down from the ministry and then sent to the ministry, and then is it a process then from the ministry it would go to the Legislative Assembly to be sort of laid on a house on a table?
That's what Section 85 calls for. Yeah.
Right. I just want to make sure that I understand that, and I don't want to misspeak and not be misinformed. So if I don't want to be accused of defending civil servants, right? But if the civil servants
prepares the reports and submits them to the ministry, to the chief officer, who is supposed to hand them to the minister, and then the minister at the next meeting of the Legislative Assembly. The report is to be laid on the table.
Right. Well, I got a couple of questions, but to call, because you did reference that earlier, I just want to repeat it to make sure I didn't misunderstand. Sorry, my good friend, you were sharing with us, so continue.
Yeah, just one last question, Nazi.
Yes.
So if they were underfunded to, give the report or do the report, or if they willingly and knowingly did not do the report, then what are we supposed to say about them after that? Thank you very much, Mr. Billy. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you too, sir. Mr. Billy, would you guide me, because my memory could be off, and I don't want to be disparaging, right? But you referenced 2014, okay? Some people say, well, that was so long ago. But there were two plans, the BAF pension one, the chamber one as well. There were some, I don't know if you want to call them what, corrective orders, cease and desist orders, and the like. They were reported, right, that these plans were sort of placed under, right?
Right.
Okay, you recall that. And two, what is it now? Have they been lifted? Have those plans sort of complied with the thing and now operational again because they're now in good state, or what's the status?
Well, some of it, I mean, I don't know where it's all at now, because they kicked me off the board. Because they said I wasn't a team player. I said I never was on your team. I was on the team for the employees. And as far as I'm concerned, a bunch of you have not been on the team of the employees. So, you know, they're supposed to be on one particular plan. There was supposed to be a forensic audit. That means an investigation into the dealings and the way it was handled. A forensic audit is a very detailed audit, but that was cancelled by government. Let me read Section 85, which is what you're asking about. Section 85, Annual Report. The superintendent and the board shall report annually to the minister on the business of the superintendent and the board. That's Section 1, Subsection 1. Subsection 2, the minister shall submit the annual report to the governor and shall then lay the report before the Legislative Assembly at the meeting of the Legislative Assembly immediately following the submission of the report. Plain English. Plain English. There's no provision there for when it's submitted to the ministry by the board that if they don't like something in it, to send it back to the board and ask the board to rewrite it. While I was there, I refused to approve any rewriting. We were asked. And so it was a stalemate. It didn't go forward.
Well, you know, this is a timely discussion because we're going to see, as we just shared, our jurisdiction, we now understand Bermuda is looking at emergency legislation. I'm sure others are going to be looking at it. We want to publicly invite you, sort of thank you for it. We're going to reach out. We've already had a public sort of invite to the chamber as well through its chamber CEO, but we'll talk about it. And when we hear that many people right now are sharing that they're trying to call their pension plan administrators and they're like, and either A, you know, it's the volume of calls, or B, it's some other reason, they're having a challenge reaching these people, getting their things. Now, naturally, there is going to be a delay. There is a time frame. There is paperwork to be done and calculations to be made. We understand that, but as the caller shared, you know, your information was very, very educational, very informative. Mr. Billy, any final thoughts, sir? I do recognize that, you know, this time could be well spent educating, but we do have time constraints, huh?
Yes, sir. I would, in closing, I would just like to recognize Mr. Michael Miles for what he is doing with the Inspire Cayman training that he does. And one of the courses that Mr. Miles offers is put on by the Financial Peace University, which is a 9-session, once a week for 2 hours, course that he puts on. And this is well recognized. If you look up Dave Ramsey, it's been popular for years, and he's designed these courses. And Mr. Miles is a trained instructor, and he also has a training to train instructors as well. I forget what level you call that, but anyway, he isn't just a teacher; he's a trained instructor to train teachers, put it that way. And I have been speaking to him because my fear is a lot of money is going to be put in the hands of people, and I'm worried about that money not being spent in the right way. The government has no concern for that, evidently. And, well, no, let me rephrase that. Actually, there was on one occasion that I heard some of the ministers, and I think it was the Premier, let me give him credit where credit is due, and he did say that the money, if you don't need it, don't take it, and if you do take it, to spend it wisely. Okay, that came in at the end of things and in the press conference. And the Financial Peace University course normally is $150 for one person. 2 people coming in together, it drops to $200. If we can get 50 people to take the next course, which begins in a couple of weeks, I have asked him if we could get a reduction on that. He has agreed to drop the price from $150 to $50. Now you talk about a deal, that is. For $50 to have the course to be put on by his Inspire Cayman school, the training. and it will be virtual over a computer or smartphone, and it will be 2 hours a week for 9 weeks. And then there's material that will come with it that's downloadable. You can download it and print it, and it helps you to get control of your life, to get rid of debt, and to give you advice on how to spend your money wisely. And that's the beginning of what the whole Dave Ramsey organization and what they offer, an insight. My number is 916-0707. 916-0707. I also have a website called Cayman Pension Watch. There's a comment form on that if you don't want to identify yourself. No way to trace you. You can put whatever you want to put there. Yeah. But if you want, you can make contact and call me on 916-0707, and you can we can talk about it, and I'll find out about some of the pension plans to be sure you're getting the right information, because there's lots of information that unfortunately has not been forthcoming, and I'll be more than happy to help you as far as I can, limited in a lot of respect, but I'll help you as much as I can.
Yeah. Mr. Billy?
Not had their employer putting money in. God bless you, Dwayne.
God bless you. God bless you. And thank you too, Mr. Billy. And Miss Susan, they say sometimes it's easy to ask forgiveness for permission, but in this time we crave indulgence, as it is a trying time, and a few minutes extra have been instructive. And to people like Mr. Billy, who try to not just encourage and nurture and inform and educate, but empower. And I'm grateful that we have those stalwarts within our community. And maybe it's the building base, that foundation for future success and progress, where people not only ask questions but seek knowledge, but take corrective, positive action and implementing such thoughts. We see the outcomes being so rewarding, and as a people, I think it is a time that now we look and reflect, and not how we can change others, but how we can improve ourselves. So whether it's through education, formally or otherwise, whether it's just reading, or whether it's taken, as Mr. Billy said, an opportunity to understand the greater sense of financial literacy that provides for our future independence when it comes to retirement, or savings, or planning for our children's education, or even, God's willing, when the borders are open again and travel resumes, when we go to, the fish market, or we go fishing with our friends, or we go walking the beach. I hope to get to see more of us out there, that we will remember what is truly important, and not be disrespectful of our elected government or those who have been appointed, but to equally remind them that their authority only extends to that which is given to them, and they shouldn't try to lord it over others. The uniform that they don isn't there for them to take the perspective that they're the be all and end all, but with humility and a sense of being a good public servant. They're there to serve, not to dictate. Listen, the press briefing is at 3 o'clock. Wonder what we're going to hear. I know that there is much speculation and conjecture, but let's try to be as positive and productive, and more importantly, let's ensure that what we share is accurate, factual, timely, beneficial. It doesn't mean that if it's not necessarily something that people don't want to hear, that it can't be, useful. But it is, as they say, not so much what you say, is how you say it, to whom you say it, and when you say it. So let's make sure that it is for the best and for the future of all of us. Tomorrow, we invite you to join us for more Talk Today right after the midday news and midday meditation. Until then, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Fidelity Bank. For all your banking needs, visit fidelitygroup.com. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Also brought to you by greenturtle.ky. Take a ride on the Green Turtle Express today. Download the Green Turtle app. The future of mobile, saving lives today.